So my name is Andrew Caffarelli, and this is my story. Grew up in a broken home, as is too common nowadays. Parents split up when I was 2. It was a violent divorce, and my dad remarried when I was 8. Had 2 stepsisters for a little, and then got divorced when I was 12, so I'm an only child. Grew up in the church though, went to private school my whole life. I was involved in a great youth group, had a great youth pastor. I was on the worship team. At around the age of 16, something started to shift in me. I drank and got drunk for the first time. I started just hanging around with the wrong people, and it gave me a hunger and a desire for the things that are of the world. Through that, though, my eyes became opened to what was going on in the world around me and in our country. And I loved my country. 9/11 had a big impact on my life. Both my grandparents served in World War II, as did many. I was raised to love and appreciate my country, and I'm grateful for all the rights that we have and everything that we've done to better this world. So when I saw the things that were going on and the trajectory that we were at, it stole my hope, it stole my joy, and I descended into a dark depression that I could not get myself out of. Luckily, the Lord delivered me of that. After I graduated high school, I joined the Navy Reserve. I wanted to serve my country. My whole goal and plan was to join the reserves, do some deployments, get a degree, and go officer. Joined the Navy, got back. There was no Christian real fellowship or community, so that path led me down to go to places that I never thought I would, that I never thought I'd find myself, to the depth of getting drunk and parties and the things that I would do as a result of it, and just living for the flesh and living for the world. I knew how I was living was wrong, but I couldn't pull myself out. I didn't have the power. So on that deployment, we didn't have a chapel, we didn't have church, we didn't have anything. We were in a isolated environment where we couldn't maintain a military presence, so we lived among the people in the Arab world. And how I was able to reestablish my relationship, or at least take part in church, was online. And I began to pray every night, Lord, guide my path, because I knew that I was on the wrong one. When I returned from that deployment, I was fortunate to, a friend from high school invited me to a young adult Bible study, going through Romans 6-8, which is talking about the desires of the flesh and sin, and living for God, living for the Spirit as opposed to the flesh, and casting off all the desires of the flesh and living for God and pursuing righteousness while grace may cover all. And since then, I can happily say that I haven't lived that way since. God gave me the strength, and He gave me the purpose and the calling in my life, to seeds that were planted in my life through International House of Prayer, and just church and the ministry began to bear fruit and blossom as I began to proactively seek the Lord first and seek the kingdom first, and knew that the only hope for this nation, the only deliverance for this generation, was through Jesus Christ and His calling, and living wholeheartedly sold out for Him. Upon return to the main hub of base that I was at in East Africa, I was able to further get involved with ministry and spirit-filled believers that were not content for just traditional ministry and just routine, but lived it out, and they had it in here because they were filled with the Spirit of God. He will work and do things in your life that you never expect, and I am a testimony of that. And I want to call out every believer and everyone that's not a believer. You will not find any hope apart from your calling in Jesus Christ, because it is what He created you to do. And once you realize that, once you live it out, you will never turn back. You will never look back, and you will constantly move forward and take ground from the enemy each day, because that is what we were created and put here to do. Each and every one of us has a calling, and we were put here in this generation for a reason, and we have to live it out.